Hey guys, Professor David Stuckler here. Today I want to talk to you about peak productivity. You may be wondering, why am I snapping? Why am I snapping like this? Because guys, when you can get to peak productivity, peak flow, it literally is like you can snap your fingers, laser-like focus, you are on point, you are in the room, you are present, you have no distractions, you are indistractable, you are there. And guys, that is how quickly I want you guys to be able to get in the zone. And by the end of this video, you're going to be on the right path to being able to do that yourselves. I'm Professor David Stuckler. I work at University of Bocconi in Milan, where I'm a full professor. I've also taught at Harvard, Oxford, and Cambridge. I had the great luxury of being able to choose where in the world I wanted to be. I want you guys to have those kinds of luxuries as a grad student and in your academic career. And to do that, you just got to take the right steps. And one of those right steps you really need to take is to get your productivity on point. Look, we all have 24 hours in a day that we can spend and we can invest, and we're investing a lot of that. We can't make up more than 24 hours, but what we can do is use them more effectively to get more productivity out of our productive hours of the day. So guys, you're not going to want to miss this video if you have ever struggled with your productivity. Even if you're feeling good in this video, you're going to learn some of my secret tips that have helped me publish over 400 peer-reviewed articles and become a full professor at Oxford before I was 30. So guys, productivity is the magic to do that. No matter how intelligent you are, if you don't have productivity, you're not getting things done. So guys, I'm gonna roll up my sleeves with you and let's dive straight in. We are actually going to draw some productivity curves to map out what your situation might look like now and what your situation is gonna look like after. So let's dive in.
All right, guys, so I want to come here and draw your productivity curve. So for some of you, let's just imagine this, that you have a unit of time here, how much time you're spending. And on this axis here, we're going to put our productivity. And for most of you, when you get into work, I want you to have blocks of time of about 2 to 3 hours. Imagine these are blocks that you have. I want you to try to protect these in your day because these are going to be the core of when you can get deep work done. Now, talking about reaching your peak productivity. For many of you, you probably get into the lab, to the office, wherever it is you're going to go to do your work, and your productivity kind of starts off slowly and goes like this, and you're starting to feel good, but then something happens, you hit a bump along the road, and then and maybe somebody knocks at your door, and then your phone goes off, something happens, and you end up having your block of 2-3 hours, and you end up down here. And if you look at this curve, and you're trying to calculate, if you could imagine kind of the amount of productivity that you had, this area under the curve, if you kind of sum all that up, and this is my bad writing on the whiteboard, right, this actual productivity that you might have gotten here, you might have only out of your 2-3 hours gotten a full productive block of about 15 minutes. Now, I want you to imagine another hypothetical scenario where if your curve kind of looked like this, where you could kind of break into the office and, no distractions, and you kind of ease in and you start hitting a really nice flow. And then you kind of ease your way out of it at the end of your block. And there you go. Now you've got a productivity curve here where, maybe you're not going to end up you're never going to get a full 2-3 hours. But maybe instead, if you look at the area under the curve, maybe you got closer to about 90 to 100 minutes, right, which is considerably more in the same amount of time. I don't know where your curve is at the moment. Right? These are obviously two extremes, but right, yours might not look as bad as one that you see on the left, but it might not be as good as the one on the right. The goal is for us to progressively start shifting your curve to look more like the one on the right. How can you begin to do that? Well, I like thinking about this curve and breaking it into really 3 main stages of what's going on. So you got a stage 1 where you're kind of coming in to wherever you're going to work and you're setting yourself up for deep work, trying to get into your flow. You got a stage 2, which is when you want to be achieving your peak flow and you're really getting into your deep work. And then you've got a stage 3 where you're starting to phase out. Each of these stages is critically important to master for you to hit your peak productivity and make the most out of our limited 24 hours in the day. So phase 1, when you're getting into work. Here I want you to think of yourselves just like athletes. What athletes do is they don't just dive straight into sports. They have a warm-up. They have a routine. They have the things they need to do to get their body and mind prepared to do their best, to perform. And that's what you're doing with deep work. You're producing at sometimes a very high cognitively demanding level. So you need to prepare your mind and body to do your best. You need a routine, something that is going to get you in the zone. For me, I have my routine so that when I get in the office, I'm mentally ready to go. I do the same thing every time. And that might be I have my single espresso, I go to the bathroom, I've cleared my inbox, I have my routine, I'm warmed up. So when I get in the office, I'm ready to start producing. And guys, I don't know what that's going to be for you. There's no right or wrong answer. You guys just need to get a good habit that you can consistently execute on. Something that might be meditation, might be some stretching. One thing I really encourage you to do in this period is get off of social media so you can start clearing your head and having control of your day and not having somebody else pull you into their day, pulling you into their reality with their needs and their wants from you. So I do recommend in stage 1, completely disconnect social media. That's really going to help you moving into stage 2. So ideally now you have your routine, you're at the office, you're getting started, and you're starting, you know that feeling yourself as you're starting to get into it. This is a critical moment going into stage 2, because at this moment, everything is going to come to you at this stage 2 and be like, no, go away. This is hard. Don't do this. Run away. We're trained to be like that. When we start, something's discomforting, something's difficult, something that's hard, our minds immediately want to go down the path of least resistance, go to something easy. Your mind is going to be searching for ways to get out of doing whatever uncomfortable thing you're doing that's making you feel stretched, that's pushing you to your limits, that deep work right now. And so that's when people sometimes will, I'll just check my phone for a second. Maybe I'll go, I'll just put on some music in the background or something. And what's going to happen there is that you're going to get distracted. And so this distraction from your deep flow, right? Instead of looking like this nice curve where you really need to get into it, it's going to actually push you back down to where you can't get in the deep work, where each unit of productivity per minute that you have is really, really high. That's when you're really breaking ground. You're moving mountains. It's going to kind of reset the clock for you. And so that could be somebody knocking at your door. It can be going to get another coffee. It can be getting hungry. It could be you didn't do the things in step 1 that prepared you. It can be you didn't set yourself up in an environment where you could be indistractable. And at the beginning, I recommend you to be in an environment where you've got no distractions, no stimulus whatsoever. If I could put you in a blank room with white walls where there's nothing for your mind to wander to, that would be the best. And your mind is going to try to wander into anything but that hard thing you're doing. And you have to resist that. And you have to train yourself to be indistractable. And I say you have to train yourself because you really do. Our whole world is pressing us to instant gratification. Small micro hits of Instagram reels, quick hits, quick stories, quick jolts of stimulation. Not the long-term deep concentration that you need to do to really thrive as a grad. Even if you look at music on MTV, if you look at the MTV snippets from about 30 years ago, you had bands that just played for 7 minutes. And there wasn't a whole lot of flashing. Slowly over time, there's more things flashing every few seconds now in an MTV music video snippet. So, guys, you actually are kind of fighting against everything that society is training you to do. You have to push against that to work these muscles that you have to be productive and be indistractable. So a lot of students then, if they can get past stage 1 and 2, all right, fantastic. Now we're in this sweet spot area. We're producing. We're feeling good. Sometimes when students discover this is just like a secret power. It's like, wow, I can get so much done. I'm moving mountains. And they can go from one extreme to the other. It's like this jolt of oxygen, how much they can do. And then they forget to eat. They work more than 2-3 hours. They're going longer than they should in their block. They're not taking a break to recharge themselves, and they're actually putting themselves on a path, feeling like they can do everything. They're putting themselves on a path for a burnout. So it is really important that you pay attention to the stage at the end, right, at this tail of the curve, and make sure you start coming out of this peak flow, because it's not something you want to stay in for forever. Because you may not realize it because you're feeling good, actually, and it can be exhilarating. It can feel great. You feel so good when you've gotten this stuff done. You'll feel amazing afterwards. But you do need to temper that and set a realistic pace for yourself. Know that, okay, I've got my block of 2-3 hours in. I'm going to recharge and prepare myself for the next block. And one of the fantastic things that happens with my students is sometimes when they finally get to these blocks, and they no exaggeration, are multiplying their productivity by five-fold productivity. Something they never thought they could do before. In the time that they had, they realize they've got more time for other things. They might not even need a second block. They can spend time nourishing themselves at the gym, going out with friends, winning their life back to be with their family, don't have their partners so frustrated that they're always distant and away and stressed about the work that they have to do that never seems to get done. It is no exaggeration that if you master this peak flow, it is going to change your life. It's going to help your relationships, and it's going to be a massive boost to your career.
Just to recap, guys, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to click like. I've had so many students come to tell me like, wow, I feel like I've got my life back. I can spend more time with my family and kids. I can go to the gym and do those other things that help me recharge. Hitting peak productivity, hitting your peak flow, no exaggeration, is going to change your life. It's going to change your career. It's going to help you publish better and faster and publish more. Don't forget to join my exclusive Facebook group, Fast Track Grad, where you get even deeper, more detailed trainings and the opportunity to apply to work one-to-one with us at Fast Track. Look forward to seeing you there.